When I won the special election in January. So a lot of you know already a lot about who I am and where I come from. You can go on my website, MikePerry.com, to find out more. But I think I found something through my years that really tells everyone where I'm coming from. It happens in 91 words, and I want to read it to you right now. Listen closely, because I think some of you will know where it came from. You cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot further the brotherhood of man by encouraging class hatred. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot build character and courage by taking away man's initiative and independence. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. I live by that. Abraham Lincoln. I'm looking for good questions this afternoon, and once again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Mr. DeMarco.
Good afternoon. My name is Alexander DeMarco. I am challenging Mike Perry for the Senate seat. I appreciate the opportunity to open with the Star Spangled Banner. Gives a chance to warm up the pipes, which I always appreciate, being a classically trained singer myself. I'm an attorney with the Public Defender's Office. I represent a lot of people in court that can't afford lawyers, the poor, the disabled. I represent disabled veterans in court. I also represent juveniles, both in delinquency proceedings and child protection proceedings. And so I see a lot of heartache kind of coming from the bottom of the economy. And some of you probably know, if you've read it, it's not the highest paying gig in the world. We've been on a pay freeze for a while, and what's motivated me to kind of do this is when my wife lost her job in December, it became really hard to make ends meet, living check to check, going in the red. And I said, a lot of people in this district know exactly what it's like. It's hard for me. It's much harder for most of the other people in this district. So it's sort of a blue-collar lawyer position, representing people that have next to nothing. And it necessitates sort of a strange juxtaposition of compassion and also aggressive representation. And that's the leadership style I want to bring to the Capitol for this district. Compassion for every single person that's created in the image and likeness of God. I believe in that very strongly. I'm one of the few proud pro-life Democrats. It's not very common. I'm also very pro-gun rights. But part of that, it doesn't just start at conception. It goes all the way through natural death. I have compassion for every single person, even people that have done wrong, even people who have fallen to rock bottom by some of their own fault and some not of their own fault. And I believe that I can, but at that same time, that compassion is not meek. That compassion is met with an aggressive representation in the courtroom. And I'm looking forward to bringing that leadership style to the Capitol and to compassionately and aggressively represent the people of District 26. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Cath.
Well, good afternoon. State Representative Corey Cath. I know a lot of you have had interactions with me over the past 2 years as your state representative, but just a little bit about myself. First and foremost, I was born and raised in Meriden Township, and I commonly kind of give that statement that there was about 150 of us that lived out there, and about 85 were my family, so I could do no wrong, because I would be caught if I was going to do any of that. So I'm very honored to have lived and grown up in Meriden Township, and both cities that I represent were very much second nature to me as communities that supported me, both Waseca as well as Owatonna. I grew up then through the Owatonna Public Schools, graduated, and went off to Gustavus Adolphus College, where I majored in education. I've now been a teacher for 11 years of economics and advanced placement in political science. And truly an honor to serve our families and develop that level of trust with our families with educating their children. Beyond that then, of course, being very active in the community, whether it be through the Elks Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, founding member of our Alumni Association, as well as the ISD 761 Foundation too. So try to make sure that I keep my roots, keep those roots developed in my community, and that's really what drove me to run or seek office 2 years ago, is that I wanted to give back to my community that has given so much to me. And that is what I've tried to do now the past 2 years as your state representative. Specifically, the committees that I served on this last session was on public safety policy. I served on the Crime Victims Division, served on state government finance, ag and veterans affairs, as well as then was vice chair of the K-12 Education Committee. All of my mission as your state representative has been about putting community first. making sure to look out for those constituents and ensure that we have representation out there that puts community first. I really believe that we can get rid of so many of the problems and the kind of the demonizing or the animosity that's up at the Capitol by making sure that we all just focus on the community and the people within our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thule.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'd like to say thank you to the Rotary and the Chamber for hosting this forum. Voting is probably the single most important responsibility that we as individual citizens have. And I'm very happy to see so many people so very interested in voting this year. I live in Owatonna with my wife Heather, who's sitting down front here and is now mad at me for pointing her out. Our 2 children go to Lincoln Elementary. I've been a member of this community since 1992 when I joined the local National Guard unit. In the past 18 years, I've been deployed in 2004 to Kosovo and a nice long deployment, 27 months for Iraq in 2005 through 2007. With your help, I'm going to serve my next tour in St. Paul as your state representative. I am a strong fiscal conservative, and that's how I will vote in the legislature. I organize both of the Tax Day Tea Party rallies here in town because I firmly believe that our state and federal governments are spending too much of our money. Over the past 20 years, our state budget has gone up farther and faster than inflation or population would justify, and that needs to stop. Until Minnesota gets its spending under control, I'll vote against any tax increase that comes to the legislature. 2 years ago, our country was swept with this fever of hope and change that was remarkably short on details of how it was going to be done. Today, as you listen to the 6 of us asking for your vote, I'm going to challenge you to listen for the details. Moving Highway 14 forward is a very nice phrase, but it says nothing about how it will be done or when it will be done. The specifics of how we control our state spending are what we need to hear today. So I'm going to ask you again, please, if you have a question that doesn't get answered here today, don't let us leave the room until you get that question answered. All of us are asking to represent you, and how we plan to represent you is the most important thing that you need to hear today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fritz.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and thank all of you again for the invitation to be here this afternoon. Thank you to the Chamber and to the Rotary. I appreciate the time that we're able to give you today. I'm sorry that we weren't able to be here last week, but we did very important work, very necessary work for our district with the flood bill that we were able to pass. I'm Patty Fritz, and I am a wife, mother, and grandmother. My husband Jim is here, 46 years of marriage. We celebrated at the Capitol last year. February 8th was our 46th wedding anniversary. We have 5 grown children and 17 beautiful grandchildren. No great-grandchildren yet, so I'm hoping to get some of them as well. I served as a licensed practical nurse in the nursing home field for 35 years in Faribault at St. Luca's Care Center primarily. I worked all of the shifts, did all of the direct care work that was required of me in an industry that is, without a doubt, one of the hardest physical jobs that there is. I did that willingly, lovingly, all of my career. However, always knowing that there was something missing and that I needed to bring that issue to St. Paul. I was elected to the state legislature 6 years ago and have served there for 6 years, and I serve on both the healthcare policy and the health finance committees, bringing to the table the issues that do impact our seniors and our elderly, disabled, and our most vulnerable citizens in the nursing home and hospital industry. I'm very, very honored to be here again today, and I'm very proud of the legislation that I have passed, and I work in a very bipartisan way, have a good working relationship with the other aisle, folks on the other aisle. In fact, many of them sign on to the Fritz bills. So again, thank you for the opportunity to serve you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Mr. Kaiser.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Kaiser, and I also would like to thank our sponsors that are here today. I also want to thank you for coming out and taking a look at the candidates that want to serve you up in St. Paul. Just a quick note to you, Jeffrey. I know that you're very particular on the time, and that you demonstrated that earlier today. But I did know that your car is being towed away, so if you want to go out and handle that, Jeffrey, I'll be happy to fill in here while you're taking care of that. With that being said, again, I'm Dan Kaiser. I'm running for state representative for 26B. which covers the southern part of Rice County, the northern part of Steele, also includes east and southern parts of Steele County. I'm a longtime resident of the area. I live in Medford. I've been married to my wife, Mona, for 31 years. Mona is the executive director of the Faribault Senior Center, up in Faribault, obviously. We've been blessed with 3 children. We've got 2 grandchildren, and that will soon change to 3 grandchildren any minute now. I left my cell phone out of the vehicle, but we've got a little grandson on the way. I've been involved in small business most of my working adult life. I was vice president of a local contracting company from 1980 to 1996. In 1996, my wife Lauren and I started our own small business, which we still own today, which is located in Medford. I also currently serve as a deputy state fire marshal. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. I've served on the Medford City Council for 18 years. 10 of those years as a councilman, 8 of those years as a mayor. I've been very involved in our community. I've been involved in our church. I'm the church president here at Emmanuel Lutheran in Owatonna. I've served on numerous county boards. I've also been appointed, or was appointed, to the Fire Protection Advisory Council on a state level.
Thank you, sir. I guess my car will have to be towed.